Hey class, in this video what I'd like to do is to show you some of the tools that we're going to be using for this class that you have in Logos. And so I'd like you, as you watch this video, to follow along, be able to find these own tools yourself in your version of Logos and complete a setup that we're going to be doing together. So this is the version of Logos I have open that should be exactly what you have if you ordered the recommended package that's in our course. Under the course information, I have a little handout there that says information for buying Logos. So this should be exactly what you have if that's the package you have, which is basically the Logos Silver Researcher package combined with a Logos Pro subscription. This is the same setup that was used for Intro to Greek, and that's what we're using for Intro to Hebrew. If you have a different package than that, your version might look a little bit different. I'd look at it still, see if you have the tools that I'm going to be talking about here. So the first tool that I want to get, as you open Logos, this is the opening screen, and you can kind of remove this screen by just simply hitting that button, the dashboard button. Now we have a blank canvas to work with. And what I like to do is to take your library, if you click on your library, and this is going to be a list of all the books that you have in Logos, and just drag it over to be a window. It seems to function better when it's like this, so I like to bring it over here. And you'll notice there's a filter open that shows you all the different categories of books that you have. So the first thing I want to show you is an English Bible. Now your textbook uses the New International Version quite a bit, which I really like. The New International Version is a great translation. I'm going to be using the ESV as the sample. You can use either one of those. There's a few assignments in the textbook where it will require you to use the NIV. Everything that I show you here with the ESV also works with the NIV. So if you just type ESV, or actually I can show you even how to use the filter for this. If you go and you're looking just for what Bible, you may be wondering, well, what Bible translations do I have? You can just scroll down here and it says there's 37 Bibles. So if you click on this will give you a list of all the Bibles that come in this package. So there's 37 of them, it looks like. And we're going to be looking for the ESV. So there it is right there. Or you could just type ESV up here and it would come up. Now let's go ahead and take that filter back off. So this is the ESV, and what I'm going to do is open this up to Genesis 1:1. Now this is just a biblical text, but in some ways it's actually more than just a biblical text. It's what I like to call a smart text. In other words, it's not just the words on the page that you see here, but there's all kinds of coding and information built into each word. And so there's actually a lot more there than just the words of the English text. So if you can see, if I put my cursor over the word beginning, you can see on the bottom that little information window popped up, and it says Reshit. You might be able to know how to read that by now. And it tells you it's a noun, common, feminine, singular, absolute, and it gives you Strong's numbers, which is actually something we're going to be working with in this course. So there's actually a lot there you can get to just by putting your cursor over a particular word. Now, there's also, you can turn on an interlinear pane in this resource. So the way to get to that, it's a little bit tricky with this version of Logos. In the older version of Logos, it's much easier. It's just a alpha, omega, or there's an alpha, omega Greek letters. You click on that and you can open it up. Here we need to go to the Views tab, which is under More, View, and then here's the Interlinear tab. And what you want to do, if you turn this on, there's two different types of interlinears you can do. This first one is called an inline reverse interlinear. Let me just talk about this for a moment. Here you can see it's the ESV text on the top, and then underneath that is the Hebrew and Greek word, or not Greek, it's the Hebrew word that will go with it. Now let's compare that to an actual Hebrew Bible. You also have some Hebrew Bibles here. In fact, if you go to the types of resources and click More, if you scroll down, you can find under Bible, it should have one of the tabs right here under Bibles is, let me click this More, Bible Hebrew. So you can see these are the Hebrew Bibles that you have in this package. And I'm going to have you open both of these, actually, the first two. The first one, the top one, is called the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. And then the other one is called the Lexham Hebrew Bible. They're two Hebrew Bibles. The text of the two Bibles is exactly the same. They're identical Hebrew texts. The difference is the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia Bible has a text critical apparatus with it, which we will be using some in this class. So it's good to know where that is. The other Bible, the Lexham Hebrew Bible, as I mentioned, is the same exact text, but it doesn't have the text critical apparatus. However, it seems to work a lot better within Logos. So when I'm doing searches and things like that, I usually use the Lexham Hebrew Bible. When I need text critical information, I'll use the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. So it's good that you have both. But what I want to point out here is if you look at the Hebrew text, remember it reads right to left, and Genesis 1:1 opens by saying, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashemayim ve'et haaretz. And you'll notice here that the word order is a little bit different on the reverse interlinear. What it means by reverse interlinear is that it's putting the Hebrew word in order with the English translation. So the top line, this is the exact translation of the ESV version, and they're just putting the corresponding Hebrew word underneath each English word. So the word order is a little bit different. If you'll notice in Hebrew, you have the bait preposition first, which is actually first in English as well. Then you have reshit, which is right here, so that's in order. But then you'll notice the third word in English is God, Elohim, which is actually, the next word in Hebrew is bara. So bara actually comes after God in English, God created, but it comes before God in Hebrew. That has to do with the word order of Hebrew. Then you'll notice these little words, et, that's that definite direct object marker that is not translated in English. And the way the reverse interlinear handles that, if there's a non-translated Hebrew word there, it'll just put a dot to let you know that there's a word there in Hebrew that's not there in English. And then the heavens and the earth. So the word order follows the English in the reverse interlinear. Now there's also another way of interacting with the interlinear, and I actually prefer this. Instead of reading the interlinear like this, what you can do, if you go to interlinear options, you can unclick this and click reverse interlinear pane. And what this does is whatever word you click on, it will take you to that word at the bottom in Hebrew, and it will tell you, the English word is beginning, the Hebrew word is reshit, this is MSS, means the manuscript, and then the transliteration of it is right here, reshit. You guys are learning transliterations. The lemma, or the lexical form, is right here, and then the transliteration of the lexical form. Sometimes the lexical form is different than what's actually in the text. That's why there's two categories there, even though in this case it's the same. Then it's going to tell you the morphology of it. It's and the little pop-up label helps you here. It's a noun, common, feminine, singular, absolute. We'll talk more about what that means. Then it gives you Strong's numbers and then a sense. I like having this up, and whatever word you're dealing with, you can just click on it, but it's a little bit easier to be reading the English, and then you can look down and see what the Hebrew actually is. Now, if you prefer it the other way, the regular reverse interlinear, that works great as well. So you want all of these open. Now, in addition to this, we also have some Hebrew lexicons. A lexicon is like a fancy word for a dictionary. And the Logos package that you have has 3 of them I'd like you to have open. So if you go back here, we'll turn these filters off. And we're going to look for lexicons. So you want to look down here. Under lexicons, you have 20 of them. The most important one I want you to have is the Concise Dictionary of Classical Hebrew. That is the most up-to-date, really excellent lexicon that is included in this. But then also you have another very good lexicon is it's this one here, Dictionary of Biblical Languages with Semantic Domains, Hebrew, DBL Hebrew. And then the other one is Enhanced BDB. This is an older lexicon. it actually is a little bit dated in some ways, but it also is much more detailed and will have more information that some of the other lexicons won't. So it's good to have that open as well. So now that you have all those lexicons open, let's go ahead and move these over to the other pane here. And I want to go to our next step. So the next step is you want to create what's called link sets. So what that's saying is you want to link to the lexicons to the English or to the ESV text that you have here. So let's create a link group called A. So you just do link set A, and then link set A, all the other lexicons that I just told you about. Link set A, link set A. We'll do this with the Hebrew text as well. What's great about this now is your Hebrew text is now linked with your English text. So let's say I went to Genesis 2. Your Hebrew text immediately will fly there as well. And vice versa. If you're in the Hebrew text, the English text will follow it. So that is helpful. The other thing by link setting the lexicons, what you've done is when you click on a word, the lexicon will automatically take you to that word. Let me tell you, this is just amazing. When I was first learning Hebrew, the traditional way, we didn't have Logos, of course, and we had paper physical lexicons. And it took forever to learn how to use them and to be able to look up words. Now, you can click on the English word and it takes you immediately to the correct place in the Hebrew lexicon. And of course, it's because we linked all the lexicons. Any lexicon you click on, it will go directly to that word. Now, in another video or maybe in class, I'll go through these lexicons and talk about how to use them. At this point, I just want you to get this set up in place. So we have our English text, we have the interlinear pane open, we have the lexicons, and we have the Hebrew text all open. Now the next thing you want to do is called prioritizing resources. So this tells Logos, hey, when I open a Hebrew resource, what's the top Hebrew resource that you want to open? So if you go to your library tab, the sandwich menu, which is right here, there's this thing called prioritize books. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we want our top translation is already there, the ESV. So that's good. You want your top Hebrew Bible to be the Lexham Hebrew Bible, LHB. LHB. And we'll put that right underneath the ESV. And then we want the top lexicon to be the Concise Dictionary of Biblical Hebrew. So CD, Concise Dictionary of Biblical Hebrew, there it is. We'll put that. Because it's now the highest prioritized lexicon, it's going to immediately go to that. Underneath that, I would put BDB as my second lexicon, Enhanced BDB. And we can put that there. And you might want to put, if you have a second favorite Bible translation, let's say we're going to be using the NIV quite a bit, we'll take that and put that right underneath the ESV. That way it'll go to, the system will use the ESV first and the NIV second. Will be a way to do it. And I think for now, that's probably enough for prioritizing books. So we've done that. Now that we've prioritized the books we want to use, we have our lexicons and our Hebrew Bibles up. What you want to do now is save this layout so you don't have to open this all back up again. The way to do that is to go over here to the layouts, click on it, and say save as named layout. And we'll say intro to Hebrew, because that's the class. We'll call it intro to Hebrew. And now that's a saved layout. When you go down here, it should pop up. Oh, I didn't save it. I had to hit enter, I think. Okay, there it is right there. See, intro to Hebrew is right there. So now it's a saved layout. So watch this. If I close all the panels, and you're like, oh, I want to go back to that layout, you just go to your layouts, go down to Intro to Hebrew, click on that, and it'll take you right back to where you left it. And so you have everything set up, all the link sets are done, everything is exactly the way that you want it to be. So those are the tools you have in Logos. Make sure you have this set up ready for when we go meet in class this coming week.